Guys, we are in a time now more than ever where many people are building businesses, and it is absolutely amazing. I'm so excited, right? But you cannot go in with the same perspective that many entrepreneurs had 5 years ago, where you could just post on social media, believe that someone was going to purchase from you, boom, you're good to go, and you make a sale. That's not happening anymore. Welcome to Design with a Purpose. My name is Gabrielle Verre, and I am the owner of Design with a Purpose. And so in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down what brand identity is and why it's so important that you should have an identity for your brand, especially if you are wanting to build a successful business and you are seeing this as not just doing it to make money, but you are building a business for legacy. You are building a business out of purpose. And so I'm going to share with you what brand identity is. My hope is that you will walk away from this video feeling more confident, that you can at least start beginning to build an identity for your brand and start seeing some success come your way. Okay. So when it comes to building an identity for your brand, we must first break down what a brand is. So a brand typically is the way that people perceive you. It is the way your customers perceive you in the marketplace. Essentially, it's what sets you apart from others that are within your industry. But within a brand, there are multiple components that build up your brand. So your brand is kind of just the overarching of just your business. But under that, you have things such as your tone, personality, and different things that make up the brand. For a lot of you guys that are solo entrepreneurs, you guys are actually the brand for your business. And this is why it's so important to just understand identity, and understand that you can build a business from a place of it being around purpose, but it also being suitable to how you are designed and how you've been built. So I want to talk about understanding brand identity just on a deeper level, right? So a brand is just the overall, how people perceive you. It typically, includes colors, logos. It includes what people remember about you. Kind of think of it as this way. Even when you're in the workplace, you have a brand of how people perceive you, how people remember you. And even with individuals, as you are out and you're talking and you are just communicating with people, regardless if you know or not, you actually have a brand that you're building because there's something that comes to mind when people think about you. And so this is the same thing with your business. You are establishing an identity around your business. So when it comes to an identity, it's important to know that identity is typically shaped around your beliefs, it's shaped around your values, it's shaped around your sense of purpose. And it's basically how people define you. When they look at you, there's typically an identity that's associated with you. And that identity typically plays a role in the brand that you create, right? Because you guys are the brand. If God has called you to start a business, then you are the brand. And so it's important that you understand that your identity in how God has designed you should also play a role in your branding for your business, because essentially what that does is it attracts the audience that God has called you to serve. Brand identity is essentially the way that you advertise yourself, the way that you have presented yourself outwardly for your business, so that the people that you want to attract are able to recognize you. And so they can recognize you in what you post. They can recognize you in some of the things, your colors, your logos. Because what happens is when you build a brand and you continue to stay consistent in what you're building and your branding, eventually people begin to recognize you. And so they don't even have to, question, who is it that I'm looking at? They can just see that. They might see that logo and just realize, oh, okay, this is Design with a Purpose, right? For example, if we look at, Chick-fil-A, we look at Target, we look at Walmart, we don't necessarily have to know now that they are food places. We know who they are because of their logo, right? We know who they are because of the experiences that we've had with them. And so that is one of the things that brand identity does. Brand identity is an outwardly expression of how you want your clients or your audience to perceive you by way of your values, your beliefs, in your logo, and the way that you have basically presented yourself to the public. Guys, we are in a time now more than ever where many people are building businesses, and it is absolutely amazing. I'm so excited, right? But you cannot go in with the same perspective that many entrepreneurs had 5 years ago, where you could just post on social media, believe that someone was going to purchase from you. Okay. So let's talk about how do you establish a brand identity. So to establish a brand identity, you first want to determine, what do you want to be known for? Okay. So kind of going back to what I was saying, how people perceive you, what do you want to be known for? Do you want to be known as the person that sells the beautiful flowers that or changed it to canvases? Do you want to be known for the person that bakes goods that's under a certain amount? What do you want to be known for? Because the reality is that you have to build up your reputation, and your reputation is associated with branding. In Proverbs, it talks about, having a great reputation. And a king is typically has a great reputation, right? And I'm going to tie in biblical. Okay. I'm all about biblical. So, typically when a king is building, he values his reputation, and we are all called to be kings in the spirit. And so because of that, you want to make sure that you are building a good reputation, because you also have a brand and you are the king over the territory of your business, right? That business that God has called you to start is actually a territory. And so you want to make sure that you're building a good reputation, and that is done by way of your branding. Okay. So this goes back to, what do you want to be known for? How do you want people to view your business? Do you want it to be where, when they see your videos, they know that, they know Amanda, she is building a business that's going to help single women have childcare services? Is it, that you're building a business where, you're going to be able to help people, with their diet and eat, more healthy, so that they can do, the thing God has called them to do without worrying about, health and different things like that. What is it that you want to be known for? Okay. And I hope that you have a pen and paper, so you can jot this stuff down. What do you want to be known for? All right. Another thing is, determine your missions, values, and message. Okay, guys, this is important. Okay. Every person individually has values. They have a mission, guys. What is your mission for your business? Is it that you want to serve as many military people in service? Is it that you want to help people that are transitioning from the corporate space and that are looking to now open up in-home childcare facilities? Is it that you want to build a place where people can come and commune with each other, that are, walking through the process of addiction? What is it? What is your mission, right? And along with that mission, you want to think about, okay, what are my values? What do I stand on? Guys, this is extremely important, because a lot of times there's been businesses that have been created, and, they say, this is what we value, this is what we do. But you go there and then you might see that, okay, this is kind of different from what you said based on here. I thought you were a business that cared about customer service. I thought you were a business that cared about honoring your clients and honoring the products that you create. The reason why this is important is because you want to write down your values, because your values help you stay in alignment with the service that you are planning to provide to your customers. It helps you to stay in alignment with just building an overall great business. And so this is why you want to make sure that you have values that align with, who you are, what God has spoke to you about your business. You want to make sure that those values align with just your overall goal. And all of this goes together with your mission, okay? Your mission statement, and knowing, what is your purpose behind what you're doing for your business. This is going to help you stay on task, right? And your messaging is all going to contribute to all of that. Just like any identity, there's a personality that's attached to an identity. And like in business, you need to establish a brand personality. So you need to establish, what is it? How do you want to be known? What comes to mind? What is the personality behind it, right? What do people think when people look at your content? Do they say, oh, wow, this is definitely a business that tends to be very fun? What it does is it touches the emotions of the consumer. That's what it does. It touches the emotions of the consumer, because it's no longer that they are just looking at a business that's just selling a journal, but now they're looking at a business that has a personality in the way they've established themselves. So that can come by way of, your colors. It can come by way of the vibe that you have created within your social media space, even within your videos, guys. And so it shifts from, okay, but this is just a business, to now, okay, now I have some type of emotional connection with that brand. Okay. And even when it comes to establishing a voice, establishing a tone, you want to have a voice for your business. One of the things I talked about in one of my previous TikTok videos, one of the things that God gave me revelation around was that when it comes to a voice, you have a particular sound that God has given you to attract the particular audience that God has called you to operate in. Okay. And so when it comes to that, you also want to make sure that that voice is in sync with the brand. That business that you're building is in sync, because what happens is when you have a brand that is synchronized, then it attracts the audience that you're actually looking for. Guys, we are no longer trying to build a business from a place where we are hoping that clientele will come. No, we are operating from a place of identity so that things come natural to us. We are not operating from a place where we need to guess. We're not doing that anymore. When you know who you are, then you can begin to walk in your identity, and those people can begin to come to you because you are operating within alignment with God's will. So overall, building an identity for your brand is essential for the success for every business. It is the foundation. It is what's going to scale your business. It is what's going to grow your business. If you're struggling with sales right now in your business, go back and take a look and see if you've actually established an identity for your brand, because I can promise you, you most likely have not. Okay. And that's completely okay, right? Because now you're listening to this video and you can jot this stuff down and you can go back and take a look and see what is it that you're possibly missing. Guys, if you know that you are wanting to create and build a profitable business here in 2026, and you've been kind of struggling to get it off the ground, and you've been trying to figure out, okay, what is it that I need to do? How can I build this business of my dreams, or that God has told me to create? I want to invite you to book a free consultation call. You and I will chat about, what it is that God has told you to walk in. I want to help you build a blueprint for your business from the ground up that will allow you to build a profitable business that is not only just rooted in the way that God designed you, but a business that works for you and that is scalable, and you no longer have to strive or mimic other people, but it is from a place that just works for you. Okay. And so if this is something that you are interested in, go ahead and click the link below, and we can talk about that topic and idea that God has given you and begin helping you build that successful business. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you would like to learn more about business tips and just really learn how to build a business from a place that just works for you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and feel free to share this video with anyone that you feel like is in the process of building a business, and hit a thumbs up if you like the video as well. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.